So what's up? How you doing today? We're going to take a look at 5 tips for improvising on the jam section of Cities from Phish. I know that they actually often don't jam this song out that much, but there was this one version I heard, I forget when it was from, but they jammed it out so long, and it inspired me to be like, I'm going to make a backing track that really jams the song out. It's always been one of my favorite covers they do, and if you don't know the original from Talking Heads, check that out because it's awesome and it's totally different. It's about twice the speed of this kind of slow, funky jam way that they do it. So let's get right into it. Let's listen to the first example that I'm going to break down what it is, and I'm going to do that for each one as we go along, and I got the jam backing track at the end so that you can try out all these ideas yourself. Let's hear it. So that first one is doing just what Trey does, and this is going to be the only one in here that I'm actually going to show you what Trey does. The rest of it's kind of just be my own kind of ideas and things that work in this musical situation. So he is playing these chords. It is just, overall the chords are, before we look at the specific parts, it's an E minor, or you can play an E minor 7, I'm sorry, F sharp minor 7, then E minor, and then a B minor, or B minor 7 if you want to play that. And this is basically just in the key of B minor, and it's just a 1-4-5 and B minor. It's like a 1-4-5, minor blues, except specifically it's going 5-4-1. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. Just all these minor chords sticking right in B minor. So the specific parts though, is he's not just playing this chord, it's like this. It's playing the of F sharp, minor 7, the flat 7, the minor 3rd, and the octave there of that flat 7. And then the same thing here for the E minor. So, and he's using a wah too, really gonna wah it up on this song. And then for the B minor, so just playing this B, and then the top 2 right here, a B and the 5th below it, and then, I'm sorry, it starts here first, slides up to it, and then back, so. Oh no, I'm sorry. It does hit it. It does hit it. So it goes, hits it, and then and the whole time keeping that funky groove underneath it. So not just that part, and if that's something tricky for you, really work on getting that groove going, Just getting that, if you get the wah too, just muted strings and just get used to that, And that's it. So when you start off the jam, it's nice to start off with that actual part that's just in the chorus of what Trey's doing, that kind of unique way of playing those chords, and just start growing from there. So that gets us into the second one, which is playing the same thing, but toying with the rhythm. It's a big thing in my own playing. I don't like to just focus on notes, but how I play them. So let's give a quick listen to me toying around with the rhythm. So yeah, all you need to do is just toy around with the rhythm. It doesn't have to be even what I was doing or anything like it at all, but just try toying around with the rhythm. It's just something that is so underutilized by a lot of players. And actually, I played in a Talking Heads tribute band or cover band, whatever you can call it, for a little while, and that was a big thing. I realized that their music is so rhythmic, and there was songs where I thought, this one's going to be easy, we're going to learn this one, and I was like, whoa, the rhythm was so challenging of some of their songs. And it really helped me push me more to focus a lot on rhythm and timing of things. I'm trying to nail things that are specific, but also just toying around and doing my own thing with it here. So try that stuff. It's a great way to develop something and take one part instead of playing it over and over, but developing it in ways that, instead of just adding notes to it, but changing up the rhythm. So speaking of notes though, one thing we can do to get out from this part and get out from the rhythm is just to play the blues scale. So let's give a quick listen of hearing how that sounds. I'll talk about it in a second. So the blues scale, even though you may think, wait, this isn't a blues song or something, you'd be surprised if you're not familiar with the blues scale and jamming stuff, how much people use the blues scale. It could be some, modal situation. You think, oh, you just use that mode if you know what that stuff is. But a lot of times people just use the blues scale over it. Maybe because it's all they know, but also it's just the sound they might prefer. I go in and out of using it and other things. And I mean, in the end, when you play, you want to just be playing and not even think about that stuff. I mean, it's when I play, I just kind of play what kind of comes to me in the moment, and that's only happens to me because I've been playing for like 20 years or something, and I've just spent countless hours playing my guitar, so that some of these things like knowing the blues scale up and down the neck and every key is a second nature thing. So yeah, toy around with the blues scale. You'd be amazed how great it sounds. It gives it a little bit of an edge. So now getting to the next kind of section where I got inspired again by that one version that was like 20 minutes long. They really took it way out there. We're just gonna get away from the progression and get into more of, now speaking of modes, a modal thing where there's no chords, it's just kind of B minor, specifically the B minor mode, that scale Aeolian, which is the fancy Greek mode name, whatever. And one little trick, I forget, I think it's called artificial harmonics. If you know, actually, let me know in the comments below. But this thing here, let's give it a quick listen to me playing it in the situation, and I'll show you what it is. So this, if you don't know regular harmonics, that you play at the 12th fret or 7th or something, don't worry about this, because this is, you might, be like, okay, maybe I'll aspire to get this, but this is physically very challenging to do. It's taking the idea of playing harmonics, but playing it wherever you want. So I'm gonna just do it over a B minor, or I was doing it in the example there, a B minor chord, really just these top 3 notes. You can just do it this way. And then without a pick, you can, curl the pick up or just put the pick down or whatever. Just your fingers, because you need your index and your thumb. And then you put your index on the fret up there. So if this is on the 2nd fret, I'm now going to go 2 frets up from the 12th, so the 14. And I put it right on the 14th fret, so not behind it where you normally would be playing it, but right on there. And then I just take my thumb wherever it feels natural, and you just, pluck it. And for this, I threw on a little delay, so you forgot to get that. Because I do this a lot in like spacey situations, because it's a little easier. It's just something that I haven't spent a lot of time practicing, but I throw it in here and there, and it's a real simple way. I mean, there's some players that are just monsters. I mean, there's this one jazz player, I can't think of his name, it's on the tip of my brain. He is this older jazz player that just does this stuff like it's, I mean, it makes it sound like he's playing a harp. It doesn't even sound like a guitar. He can run up and down scales and play melodies and play multiple things and double stops and everything. It's incredible, but I'm not that good at it, so I'll just a lot of times take a scale shape like this and then play it. And maybe, I think I slid one of it, like that, and by using the delay, kind of like, it gives it some more depth. It's good for some atmospheric things. So there you go. So that's something you like, that idea to use when you're jamming out for some spacey thing, or you want to get more advanced in it and kind of rip solos with it, go nuts. Again, I think it's artificial harmonics they're called, whatever. So the next thing is using just the B minor scale. And also the idea, so 2 parts to this, of developing an idea. So let's give it, again, quick listen to an example of this, and I'll break down what's going on. So with this section, okay, now it's building, but we're still just that one chord. So it's B minor. We could use the B minor scale. We could do the little pinch harmonic thing if we want to keep kind of going with that. But we could just use the full minor scale, with the wah, or you can get the wah off now, maybe get the delay off, whatever sound we want. And the idea, though, beyond the scale is to develop ideas, and this is just kind of a basic musical stuff. I just like to drill this in to people. This is for all music, and especially for soloing, and especially for jamming, you gotta have this stuff, because if you're just jamming like in a mode for a long time, it can run the risk of getting boring. I mean, this is probably the number one complaint people who don't like jam band music have, is that they say, what? It sounds like someone's noodling, right? And what would noodling be but kind of like playing around with a scale, a mode, and not going anywhere with it, like not saying anything. I mean, sometimes I hear noodling and I can like the sound, kind of creates a cool little feeling, you know, a vibe, just a, you know, but honestly, it's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine too. I don't like when it just sounds like noodling, and you know, and you're not going anywhere. Sometimes it's okay, but sometimes it's okay when it's like setting you up to go somewhere or things. But one very quick way to get out of this noodling thing is to develop your stuff and to copy yourself. So rather than going up and down playing aimlessly new stuff every time, just copy. So what I was doing, I don't quite remember, but it was something like on these 3 strings, right? So in the B minor mode right here, just playing just 3 of them, really, just playing the second, the flat third, and the fourth. And I'm gonna bent it up to the fifth or something like that. And then I just did it up an octave. So again, second, flat third, fourth in B minor, second, flat third, fourth, right? So if I'm like, and there's the root right there. Doesn't have to even be playing the same exact thing, but it's kind of that same idea, or it's those same kind of grouping of notes, those 3 notes. Could even be the same spot, but I chose to do it up an octave, and then toyed around and made it sound like it was a call and response. And that kind of stuff should be in your playing a lot if it isn't already. It's not like it has to be just that, but it's got to be in there, because that's how we really develop our playing and kind of say something. But we can do it other ways too. Like I said earlier, developing it rhythmically. So anyways, those are ideas for developing, just getting in the zone here with jamming, with starting out with the actual, you know, part. But hopefully that helps. And I've got the backing track right now for just this jam section, so you can try out all these things. I'll put up the charts for some of these ideas for the blues scale and the chorus tab and all that stuff, so you can try it out yourself. And if this is stuff that you like, hit that subscribe button down below and the bell next to it. That keeps you notified for when I have future videos that you can check out. So have fun, and I'll see you in the next video.